There, Tony Legendry with Legendry Properties here with April 2019's Rio Rancho real estate market update. Hey, you want to keep this in chunks so you can view it quickly. We'll divide it into 5 chunks and I'll try to keep them under a minute. And the 5 chunks, how long does it take to sell your home in Rio Rancho? Commonly asked question. How's the Rio Rancho real estate market? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Is it a balanced market? How much room is there to negotiate off the list price of a home? Or said differently, for a seller, how much should I reasonably expect to get if my home is listed at X? We'll answer that for you. Why do homes still fail to sell in such a hot real estate market? We'll give you some insight on what you can do about that, and how do I know if I'm listing my home and taking advantage of a hotness factor with pricing? Check it out. The Rio Rancho real estate market, question I get all the time. We measure a market based off of months of inventory. Really, measuring a market on anything as an individual product, price becomes a function of supply and demand. So when supply is low, demand is high and price goes higher. And the reverse is true as well. So we look at that through the absorption rate. You can download this report and check it out. Check out page 4. I think it's got the most information and answers a lot of questions for people. So a balanced market in real estate is 5 to 7 months of inventory. Anything under 5 is a seller's market. Anything above 7 is a buyer's market. So how is the market overall? 1.8 months of inventory, hot seller's market in general in Rio Rancho. Specifically, and this is what you're going to want to ask if you're thinking about putting your home up on the market, what is the inventory levels in your price range? So you can see in red here, 0.2 months of inventory between 100 and 150, 150 and 200. There's 0.3 months of inventory, literally 9 days. If another home wasn't to come on the market, there would be no homes to look at. As we get above 250, it starts to become still a seller's market, but a little less hot with 4.1 months of inventory. And above 350 to about 450, we get into a balanced market. You can see as we cap 500, it becomes a buyer's market. Hope this helps. Take to sell a home in Rio Rancho? Well, if we look back 6 months, the average days on market has been 39 days. Indications over the last 30 days, 22 days on market. But even stating that is a very broad statement. What you really want to do is see what your price range of home in Rio Rancho and how long those homes are taking to sell. Click the link in this post and you can check out the April 2019 market update by price range. Download the report in the blog. We don't ask for your email. Just check it out and download it. You can look in $50,000 increments. You can see 50,000 to 100,000. It took 34 days. 100 to 150, 30 days. Drastic different when you get to 3 to 350. It's taken 51 days on average. So check it out. I think it'll give you more insight in how long it's going to take to sell your home in particular. Average. How much are buyers really negotiating off the list price of sellers' homes? Great question for both buyers and sellers. Because if you're not following the trends and following the market, you as a buyer may put something in that's totally unreasonable and just get skipped over and get passed up because they're going to be in multiple offer situations. You as a seller may give up too much money because you don't really understand the market. So what's reasonable? 98% of list price is what has happened on average over the last 6 months in Rio Rancho. That means 2% on a $200,000 home, $4,000 of negotiation room. On a $400,000 home, $8,000 of negotiation. Realize, buyers, If you're coming in and you're asking for closing cost and you're asking for 3% in closing cost, if you get your closing cost, you already did better than average. And realize sellers, when you're looking at your offer, another thing to take into consideration is what we just talked about, the absorption rate. If you're in this range, 100 to 150, 150 to 2, or 200 to 250, where the inventory is so low that it's a super hot seller's market, you may not negotiate at all. You could even get over list price in some cases. Check out the report, though. You'll see that average list price to sales price ratio in the report by price range. You can see that under 100,000, there's a lot of negotiation room, probably because a lot of those homes need incredible repair. 2%, 100 and 150. They're trading in within 1%, 150 to 200, and so on. Hope this helps. Rio Rancho home sellers, does your list price have the hotness factor? Is there something that you can do to influence more offers based off of how you priced your home, even if it's within range? There's 3 numbers that I want to show you here. We already talked about the absorption rate here, whether you're in the driver's seat or if the buyer's in the driver's seat, based off of how much inventory is. Anything under 5 months, consider yourself to be in the driver's seat. And as you approach this red number, when we get under 3 months, it becomes a hot seller's market, and you have a little bit of the hotness factor. Another number that I'd really like to show you is the PEND ratio right here. So I'm going to scroll this down here. The PEND ratio shows how many homes in your price range that are listed for sale already have a contract on them. We say anything over a 40% PEND ratio is a good sign for sellers and a sign that you're priced in and you have a hotness factor to your pricing. You can see between $100,000 and $150,000, 88%, almost 9 out of 10 homes that are listed for sale already have an offer. There's only 1 out of 10 that a buyer could even choose from, and only 6 days of inventory, if you can check that out. 84% between 150 and 200, 55%, all great numbers. It dips below that 40% between the 250 and 300, but gets right above it between 300 and 350. So 2 things, absorption rate and the PEND ratio. Third thing, if you're in a range like 150 to 200, and say your home evaluation came back between 190 and 200, where do you price your home? Do you price it at 199.9? Never. There's 9 out of 10 buyers find their home online first, and then they contact their agent to help them through the process and go view the home. And all of these online portals have $25,000 increments that they're searching within. So if you price your home at the $200,000 mark, you get everybody that's searching between 2 and 250, and everybody that's searching between 150 and 2. You get double the eyeballs, and with more eyeballs, you get more demand for your home. So when you're at around $25,000 increment price range and you're close to it, that's going to be an excitement point for buyers, because you're going to get more eyeballs to your home. So check out the inventory, check out your PEND ratio, and price your home roundly on the $25,000 price mark if you're anywhere close to it. Hope this helps. $883 homes failed to sell, even in the hot market that we're experiencing right now in Rio Rancho. Over 1 out of 3 sellers that tried over the last 6 months actually failed to sell their house the first time. So why? Well, here at Legendary Properties, we follow a 7-step strategic plan in getting our home sold the first time and for top market value. From pricing it right, to conditioning the home, to avoid those home inspection pitfalls, to staging it so that our presentation in the media that we use and the mediums that we advertise your home really makes it stand out amongst the noise of the internet and amongst the noise of the buyer's choice, to marketing it beyond just sticking it in an MLS, throwing a sign in the yard and crossing our fingers and hoping something happens. We push your your home in front of the buyer where they're looking, online and offline. These 4 steps generally are the reason that a home seller fails to sell their home. But there are circumstances where communication just went wrong between the agent and the other agent, between the agent and the seller, between the agent and the buyer. And that can be a huge pitfall. After you're in transaction, people still fall out because of that. Negotiating around true figures and really understanding the market and being able to articulate that, and sometimes getting under that weaker other agent that is necessary, that's representing the buyer, and helping them see what's true and real, because they just don't have the education to really advise their buyer of why a home should sell, where it sells, or how to get around inspection pitfalls and help sellers get over those hurdles that are within the transaction. Sometimes at the closing mark, homes fail to sell, and because a T wasn't crossed, an I wasn't dotted, something wasn't scheduled right, they missed a contingency deadline. So how do you go about not being 1/3 of every seller that's listed in the last 6 months in Rio Rancho that's failed to sell? And how do you ensure success? Follow a strategic plan. These 7 steps, they're universal. They're universal. All buyers and sellers go through them. All agents take their buyers and sellers through them, even if they don't know that these 7 steps exist and have them in order. So if you want more info on our 7-step strategy that will literally guarantee you get the most out of your home and guarantee that you sell the first time, give me a shout. Tony Legendry with Legendry Properties. I hope this helps.